Hey guys! My last Storytime video did pretty well, so I'm back with another one. This one is inspired by my fascination with aliens and the unexplained. I hope you enjoy this story. Just after dawn, a man wandered barefoot down the quiet street. Dirt clung to his clothes. His hair was shaggy, his face gaunt, his eyes roamed unfocused. He had no ID, no phone, and no memories. Not even a name. His mind held no images and no voices. It was as if the world began at that moment when he opened his eyes on that stretch of sidewalk. Two good Samaritans approached, and when they saw him sway slightly before his legs buckled, they took him to the hospital. Doctors said he had the bones of an 80-year-old, severe osteoporosis, in a man who seemed no older than 35. Whispered voices murmured, "It makes no sense. It's just not possible at his age." He was transferred to an assisted living facility while they figured out what to do with him. He spent days learning to stand without shaking and walk without falling. One afternoon, while walking the hallway, a voice behind him said brightly, "Steve, is that you?" "No way, man, I haven't seen you in years." He turned, and a man around his age grinned at him. "You don't remember me? It's Sam. We went to Dade's Academy together, the gifted school." A gifted school? The phrase sparked a half memory in him. Sam's smile wavered. "They said you got recruited. Some government stuff or something. Rumor was NASA poached you, but no one knew exactly. And then one day, you were just gone." That night, Steve lay awake staring at the ceiling, feeling a sense of unease. Someone knew him. But why couldn't he remember? Should it be this hard to regain memories? It was as though his entire life was hidden behind a locked door. So, he found someone who could open it. Under regressive hypnosis, the darkness finally cracked. He saw flashes. A NASA patch on a jumpsuit, a shimmering metallic chamber in the Nevada desert, a badge that read, Area 51, Level 6 clearance. A spinning device suspended in a magnetic field, the air bending around it. Anti-gravity. No, not just that. Something deeper. Something dangerous. His bones ached with remembered strain. Gravity shifting, collapsing, reversing. And then, suddenly, another memory. A single name. Philip, his father. The memory was small, but solid enough to hold on to. He had an address. He packed the few belongings the facility had given him and bought a one-way bus ticket. The terminal was empty when Steve arrived. Too empty. He assumed he was just early and boarded the bus prepared to wait. Minutes passed with no one else in sight. Then the door hissed open. A man stepped inside. Black suit, black tie, black sunglasses. He moved without hesitation, like he knew exactly where Steve was sitting. "Come with me," the man said, his voice flat and artificial, like a dial tone. "What? Why? Who are you?" Steve's voice cracked. The man didn't answer. He reached out, and the moment his fingers closed onto Steve's arm, Steve felt a prick and then a rush of cold spreading through his veins. His body stood on its own. He didn't tell it to. Yet, he followed the man off the bus, his steps stiff and mechanical. A black sedan waited outside. There were no markings and no plates. Another man, dressed identically, opened the rear door without a word. Steve slid inside without meaning to, his hands folded, unnaturally still on his lap. The door shut, and the moment the car began moving, it instantly stopped. But where were they? This wasn't the bus station, and there were no landmarks or buildings as far as the eye could see. No roads, no signs, no life. Just a single building ahead, an abandoned warehouse covered in rust and weeds. They walked inside and found a stairwell hidden behind a scrap metal partition and descended. Underground, they approached a steel door. One of the men tapped a rapid sequence into the keypad, and the door unlocked with a hiss. Inside, a bright, white room, clinical and cold. A person in white scrubs guided Steve to a table, and once he laid down, straps fastened around his wrists, chest, and ankles. At that moment, the cold fog that controlled his movements thinned, just enough for panic to set in. Another man entered the room, a doctor by the look of him. He glanced at Steve with irritation and asked, "Why did it take so long to find him?" One of the men in black replied, "His chip is missing. He was in a secure living facility. We had to wait." The doctor cursed under his breath. How the hell did he extract his chip? Without it, this is going to be much more difficult. Steve opened his mouth to demand answers, but before words could form, a needle pierced his neck, and the world collapsed into darkness. He couldn't move or speak, but he knew what was going on. He felt hands inside his mind, pulling threads loose, tearing out whole sections, everything he just recovered gone, slipping away. In a final desperate moment, another wall in his mind cracked, and he saw everything that they had hidden from him. He hadn't just worked on anti-gravity. That was just one component. Steve reverse engineered alien technology, a device that could bend time itself, a tool that could turn any nation into a god, rewrite history, erase entire populations before they even existed. He saw the danger this power posed, and he sabotaged the project. Steve dug out the chip from behind his neck, the required implant for all level 6 scientists, knowing this would erase his memories. But before he lost everything, he had scattered fragments of knowledge, hidden clues, a contingency plan. This was why the men in black had been searching for him. His memories roared to life, and then, in an agonizing instant, they were ripped away. Steve woke in a bed. Soft, morning light warmed his face. Familiar posters hung on the wall. A cluttered desk sat against the wall with a half-assembled model airplane. This was his childhood bedroom. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and caught his reflection in the mirror. A boy stared back. 16, maybe 17. Smooth skin, clear eyes, a face untouched by terror or years of whatever had been chasing him in the dark. His breath hitched as he touched his face. It must have all been a dream. "Steve, come down, son. You have a visitor." That was his father's voice. Steve's heart pounded as he walked down the stairs. On the porch stood his father and a man in a black suit. The same man. Those dark sunglasses turned towards Steve as he approached, tracking each step. "Dad? What's going on?" His father sighed, placing a comforting hand on Steve's back. "Son, I know how hard you worked for that NASA internship, but you didn't get it." The man in black's lips twitched. Not a smile, but the suggestion of one. "Yes, we thank you for your interest in the program, Stephen. Your work on the application was impressive." The way he said application made something inside Steve twist, like deja vu. He couldn't remember why, but he felt it. The man took a step forward. "Are you feeling all right, Stephen?" Yes," Steve whispered. He looked up into those dark lenses. For a moment, he thought he saw something. A reflection. A version of himself that wasn't a boy. But then it was gone. The man nodded stiffly. "Good." He turned to leave, pausing at the edge of the porch and murmured, "Thank you for your service." The words hit Steve like he'd been pushed off a cliff. He staggered, one hand clenching the doorway. As the car drove off, his father, oblivious to Steve's unease, wrapped an arm around his shoulders. "You okay, son?" Steve nodded, but inside, something was missing. Something precious and enormous. A hollow ache where a lifetime used to be. Still, surrounded by warm sunlight and his father's presence, he felt quiet relief. The men in black were gone, and whatever future they took from him, he would never know he lost it. I hope you enjoyed this unsettling story. I've always been fascinated by the mysterious men in black. I have more stories on the way, and I'm excited to share them with you. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.